Hello, Papercut here, back with another replay review. Here we have J4VE. He plays Roos, and he is on Gold 2 rank, playing against another Gold player who's played Malian. So J4 here messaged me on my coaching Discord and asked for a replay review. His thing was, he did win this game, but he just wants to know what he needs to improve on. Like, he recently came over from StarCraft, he doesn't know the game super well, so he's just asking for general, like, what should I be working more on, what could I have done better. So, we're gonna hop in this game, see how he could have dominated even more. Let's hop into it. So if you're someone who's played StarCraft and you understand the need and you had to work on that StarCraft micro, then Roos is a great starting option for you, doing the 3 scout control at the beginning. I like how the first scout you dove directly out, which is exactly what you're supposed to do. Your second or third, are you going to go third scout? You are. So your second or third scout desperately need to come back and get the... I'm not a fan of this. So you're saying 2 scouts to the same side. I know you see the deer packs on the 2 deer packs on this side, which means this is on this side, which is correct. Instead, I would have liked if you had sent it this way just to get any sheep, because you desperately gonna need to bring sheep back for your villagers under TC because they're all gonna be on food. So I'm always worried about Roos players who don't bring sheep back in time, and they're gonna hurt their eco. And you get there, boom. But look, see, you had that idle time, you had the delay time. It's small, but it matters. So I would have liked if this first guy dove the corner. You probably could have got all of these deer without worry. Your third one came out here and got sheep. Well, after poking around here, this guy should have either cleared this entire corner in this whole area or dove across the opposite side and got over here. Idea is, if your opponent's not also matching your second scout, then you really need to take advantage of that by getting as much sheep as possible. So the matchup against Malian is an interesting one. They are one that nice catch on this other deer pack. You do not want to let them get set up. You don't want to let them start booming. So my big suggestion is don't do the 2 TC, just go 1 TC all in against them. And don't let them get comfortable. So you're going to do the couple night opening into a second TC. Your raids have to be super on point, because if you don't do enough damage on the raid and he gets his cow boom up and gets the castle, you're in big trouble, which a second TC won't solve. Like, your eco will not improve enough from a second TC if he gets to cow boom, if he gets the castle. So a danger against the better Malian player is, can you afford to do the second TC? Because if he uses castle with a full cow boom, you're done. Honestly, you are. Against a good Malian player, keep in mind. On top of that, for most times, the 2 TC rest build is great, because most opponents cannot stop you or hinder you really in any way in getting the second TC down. And the eco is nice, and to do an all-in, you have to kind of... It's not like French, where you get the knight straight out of the landmark, so I get wanting to do the 2 TC, but there are some certain situations like this one where you might not want to do it. So initial night raid. Does he have any production? He's just dropping the stable. Wow, he's being super greedy. You need to take advantage of that. Boom. Good, folks. You want your scouts closer. So you have 3 scouts. You should see every part of his base. So currently, where do you have the scout? There's one here. And there's one here. A lot of people in gold and silver love to do this, put a scout on the mountain here. It's really cool, but I'd rather have the scout near his base so you can see what he's doing. I think as Roos, you should have a scout here, and a scout here, so that you can constantly see what he's doing. Because if your scout was over here, you would have seen that he dropped a barracks, and you should start being watchful of Donzos. You also would have caught how he just dropped the barracks, so he doesn't have enough Donzos. You have how many knights? 4 knights. You can just waltz in there and just start killing bells. Like, your knights can tank so much damage without anything to stop you. You should be getting a lot of free damage. To make that even better, you could immediately drop a blacksmith and get air defense, which would make your knights really last under TC fire. You also could have immediately dropped a archery range, knowing that he's going to have Donzos. The point being is, scouting is your best friend. Scouting ensures you see exactly what the situation is, and then allows you to react accordingly. You had all this potential here to really take advantage of the situation. He's being super greedy. How can we tell that? Well, you saw he had multiple cattle ranches. He had no production when you showed up. All this is to say is you could have really hurt him by doing this. Second, just a Malian tip. Always have scouts check gold mines so you can see if he snuck out all his gold's up here. You could have just sent one scout over to check. You would have seen he's on this pit mine. You would have stopped him because you got there early enough to do it, I think. So if you're in a raid, always have a scout with you, especially because you have multiple scouts. It's not like you have only one scout to share. Like, you have multiple. If you're going to do different raiding groups, have your scouts around the raiding groups. Now, you mentioned to me my macro's awful, and I get that. I really do. The thing to always consider is, if you want to keep making units, like in this case, you want to double produce knights, what resource do you need? Let's say to ask yourself all the time, what resource do I need? Knights are almost equally gold and food heavy. You need 140 food and 100 gold. So if you're going to want to constantly produce knights, you need a good amount of food and a similar amount of gold. Reason being is knights cost, as I said, a little bit more food, and also you have to keep making villagers. So you also might want to have upgrades. So if you're going to be on 18 food, you should probably have 12 gold. It's not perfect science, right? I'm sure there are players who can give you the perfect numbers. That's what I'm about. I'm more about the idea of, if I want to do this, asking yourself, what villager splits do I need? And taking your time to go, oh, okay, I want to make naked knights. I have too much on food. In fact, I would have loved if... Let me show you the point. So you can stop that. A small tip you can do. You missed it, but you could have seen where he was setting up his wall and just put your scout there and clicked V, which would have made it so he can't build that wall. And then you can send your next knight over here to stop it. Lots of village kills, that's great. Another thing you can do is when you kill the villager on the wall, send 2 of the knights forward and then keep the third one here. So then when he tries to re-wall real fast behind that, you catch his villager. At this point, since you've finished the raid, this is your time to bounce back to your TC, which I hope your TC is on a hotkey. Mine's on the side of my mouse. And you look at your resources and ask what you want to do. So if I look at your resources, I see, well, I have 900 food, so I could rush castle. I have 400 wood, which I could use to drop more production. And I don't have enough gold. So you have 2 options here. You could either rush castle right now because you've done damage, or you could commit. You could be an all-in and making more units. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to spend my resources. Wood, I'm going to immediately drop a blacksmith and an archery range, because archers counter his donzos, and he's going heavy into donzos. He's dropping more production. Second, I see how much food I have and not enough gold, and while I'm rallying to gold, which is great, I would have probably pulled like 5 villagers off the berries and sent them to gold immediately. Just because you really need it, you have a lot of food, you need to start getting that gold income, and then you can just rally to deer. Second, why are your villagers on berries? Berries suck as a food resource. Deer is much better. Also, you should be getting your upgrades, which is another reason why you need more gold. You really need wheelbarrow. It's helpful for all your villagers. You want to get survival techniques when you're on deer. It helps a lot. You want to get double broadaxe, which is huge for your wood economy. And you want to get your blacksmith upgrades, such as arrow defense for diving TC. So you're missing out on a lot of upgrades. All of it comes from a lack of gold. So what you can learn from this is, if I'm going to be doing this kind of feudal push here, I need way more gold than I previously thought. Be careful. So, and once again, you're going to be running into issue if you keep attacking without scouts, because you're going to keep running in the donzos and you're going to keep taking damage, and eventually you're going to lose your knights. Looks like we're rushing castle. Dropping a bunch of archer ranges though. Going castle. I guess that's fine. I mean, I know you win this game, but let's see. Ooh, his cow boom's almost done. This is pretty dangerous. You're lucky that he has no resources, because if he was dropping the cow boom right now, you'd be pretty effed. And this is, you know, I could give him the same feedback I gave you. He's not scouting. If he had scouted, he would have seen that you stopped making units. Like, you're not making any more knights, which would have told him, oh, he's probably rushing castle. And this is a great timing because he has no idea, and he's still investing, I think. If you ever see a scout sitting here outside your base, just send a unit to go attack it. You don't want him to get the information. PC's in the middle. Quite a sizable force. You need to start. Now you're up. So what you can do here immediately, so he has a mix, right? He has some Musafatis, he has some javelin throwers, some Donzos. What do I go with? Well, first of all, archers counter basically everything in his comp except javelin throwers. If you have enough archers, your archers will still do fine against javelin throwers. So I like the triple archery range drop. I would just immediately upgrade to veteran archers because you have the gold, and then you're just maxing a lot of archers. Personally, you compare that with knights, you compare that with horsemen, because the idea is that your archers, one, should target the donzos. Once the donzos are dead, knights can kill everything here. Easy. The other option is to go men-at-arms, which you need to add production for, though. I'm going to mention one more time, your lack of upgrades is really painful. So he's going to push now because he realized you aged up and you're low on resources. I think he also scouted that you don't have any units here. Keep making units, keep making units. Okay, don't make crossbows. Why? Why would I want to make crossbows? Crossbows don't counter anything on the Malian roster. Remember, Malians don't have men-at-arms. The only thing that crossbows counter is sofas, which, if you mass the sofas, you would definitely want crossbows. But in this case, nothing is countered by crossbows here. I would just upgrade archers. Once again, that's just taking the time to like box over what he has and go, what does he have the most of? Like, what do I need? And if it's a mixture, well, yes, he has some Donzos, which would stop your knights, but not very many. Like, if you just had a lot of knights, you would run over everything in here. You call the gremlins, good. I wouldn't have taken that fight. What do I mean by that? Well, you actually didn't need a fight. Like, you can give up your Kremlin. It's fine. I would have rathered you had given up your Kremlin and rallied to this part of your TC and just built more units. There's an important part of defense. I love that you're getting your Lux, by the way. An important part of defense is getting enough units to fight. In that case, you really need to wait until you have the units to take the fight. I'm sorry. Late at night for me here. So if your Kremlin falls, do you die? No. But if you take a bad fight and lose your units, it's going to be harder to get enough units to keep fighting. So I would have waited until you absolutely had... until he's attacking your TC, or you built more units so you can take a better fight. Now you're lucky in that he just sits here and fights your gremlins, which is actually pretty crazy. Good raid with your knights. Did you upgrade them? You didn't upgrade your knights yet? Why no knight upgrade? Come on, man. You gotta upgrade your knights. You gotta upgrade your knights. So that knight raid, I think, did a lot of damage. You're at 64 villagers, and he's at 39. He also messed up his new... This is a game of both of you messing up your macro pretty bad. You overgather gold. So, like, a thing you have to be considerate of is, yes, you want to start getting the resource you're low on, but don't overgather. So in this case, when now you're out of gold, I would only move half your villagers to gold, and you really need wood now. So now you're going to move half to wood. And that's kind of how economy works. You keep adding to things you need, and once you realize you have too much of it, you then move to the thing you need. But you want to do that faster than what you're doing right now. That's the only change. That's the big change. Okay, now that you beat that back, you're pretty much good to go. You set the age up and push. What you don't want to do is let him get his age up for free. You want to go now. 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 Get your knight upgrade. Please get your knight upgrade. So why aren't we pushing? You know what I mean? The reason I say that is because you just destroyed a very large push by him, and he's still feudal. So you have castle upgrades. You have better units. You just killed a bunch of his stuff. You should be attacking right now. I don't know why you're waiting. Because here's the worst case scenario. Ready? You walk up. You see that he has way more units than you anticipate, and you walk backwards. And you go, oh, okay. I will wait until I have more units, and since he's making units, I know he's not aging up. You see the thought process there? What the worst case scenario is, or the best case scenario is, you walk up, he's trying to desperately age up, and you walk in and kill all his villagers. Your scout just caught the villagers down there, so you want to send knights to go take care of that. Send your knights to go take care of that. Just send knights. Like, I think you want to do, you don't want to take your slow down this, but your range units. Leave your range units here and keep building up your force. Send your knights out to go kill all the villagers you just saw. Holy shit, this guy's taking another fight. Huh. That's a choice by him, for sure. The thing to do is when you start getting so many extra resources like you have right now, drop a market and just sell or buy resources. Like, drop a market and buy food and wood so you can really keep powering this push. You should be rallying to the front now. Like, you have this opportunity to push. Just rally your units forward and you'll be good to go. Why are we leaving? Did he say something mean to you? I think going into men at arms would be really good here. He's massing so many Donzos. The key of Malians, you just have to keep rotating your counters. So if you see him go mass Donzos, you should get down barracks and go mass men at arms. Punish him for that. Don't attack the house. Attack the pit mine itself, because it's still gathering gold while you're doing this. Just destroy the pit mine. What is sad though is that you saw him have all these open villagers, and your knights aren't there killing all of them. You had that scout there. You saw it. You knew he needed to go food at some point. And that's a big thing about during this castle time, is that when you're in castle, and you know at this point he has to be on other food, it's okay to go send 2 knights to go check resources and catch him doing stuff. The resources go imp. So why do the resources go imp? Because you're not making units consistently, and you kind of are. Okay then, if you're making units consistently from your production, but you have the resources to age up, what's that mean? It means you don't have enough production. So a big thing about Castle Imperial is constantly adding more production. You could be making out of 8 archery ranges and 8 stables right now, which would dramatically improve your army and make you fight a lot better. Not gonna be wrong, we're going imp while he is still, okay, he taps out. So my biggest thing for you, it's obviously have good game sense. Like you playing previous RTS is very evident. I would add, make sure 1, you're scouting and always scouting, and keep scouts with raiding parties so you're more effective at scouting. 2, adjust to the scouting. So if you see he doesn't have anything with the scouting, then follow up with more pressure. If he's making a unit, build the counter unit. 3, get your upgrades. Get your economic upgrades. They're massive. Get your military upgrades as well. And lastly, try to push advantages. If you think of an advantage, walk up, but be okay to disengage, and use your scouting. Even if you're not scouting, even a lot of times you can predict this even without scouting. As the game goes on, they have to go to the resources. Send 2 or 3 knights to go check resources, and keep raiding, which will help you a lot in your games. I hope that was helpful to you. Let me know if you have any questions, and good luck on your games.